So I was searching through my video recommendations today on my YouTube app on my phone, and they recommended an interview with Elon Musk. Supposedly had told a story about his childhood and his father. His parents had got divorced. I believe his mother is from Canada. His father was from South Africa. Elon Musk is a uh, business mogul. He's the owner of Tesla, uh, electrical vehicles, and SpaceX. He's a co-inventor of PayPal. But he gave this story about growing up. His parents got divorced, mother from Canada, father from South Africa, and he decided to go live with his father in South Africa. He goes, the kids were, out of all the siblings, all of them went to the mother's side, and they went to stay with his mother in Canada. But he decided to go with his father because he didn't want his father to be alone. He was very young of age, and he just felt sad for his father. And based on what I saw in this video, he was saying that his father committed just about every crime. He was very deceptive, malicious, and manipulative. And Elon had said he had tried to figure out a way to get his father to be nice. So he tried a reward system. He tried to challenge him. He tried to be nice to him. He tried to be firm with him. He tried to argue things from a logical standpoint, and he said he tried to argue things from an emotional standpoint. He said he tried every way to reach out to his father to find common ground and to stop this abusive behavior. Now, I don't know if it was physical abuse, but psychological abuse when you're dealing with a very harsh type person. And he goes, no matter what I did, no matter what mechanism I tried, he would never change. Good to see you, Vanessa. Love to you. And I thought about that today. And of course, we're in contentious times in America with the coronavirus, with the civil unrest, different issues. And I really hate the political, contentious, divisive issues, and I prefer not to speak on them. But, like we have with Donald Trump, he's a very divisive guy, and it made me think about that today. It made me think about, well, maybe Elon's a little bit like his father because he aligns with Trump. And then I said to myself, Sam, don't bash Trump too much because there's some maybe good people that support him. And once in a while I feel, well, maybe it's bad. And then today I saw, after weeks or a week or so of protest, of deaths, of violence, Trump would say, look, everything's good with protesting, just don't riot. And then today, after the country is just about to heal, you're seeing a glimmer of hope, and you thank God for that, because I want people to be united or to be good, but not a divisive man, not Donald Trump. Today, before I went live, he tweeted again, there should be absolutely no kneeling during the national anthem, which is your First Amendment right. It's a constitutional right. People don't have to agree with it, but it's a right. So they don't want you to peacefully protest, even after all that. And it just reminded me, because that was very disheartening after I read that. And I don't want to keep talking about these issues, but I think about abusive people, abusers, whether it was Elon Musk's father, Donald Trump, my own father. I tried very similar. My father, definitely, I didn't suffer severe abuse like many people did, and he did very good things, and I would cut him off. My parents got divorced at 8, and I would tell, my mom always knew I like peace. I don't like a lot of aggravation. And my father is just very similar to that mindset of no matter what you do, how you treat him, when he wants to be nasty, he's nasty. And my sister, she dates a guy very similar. Okay. Why would you date, be friends, or vote for someone like that, an abuser? Donald Trump's an abuser, psychological abuser. You don't have to physically abuse someone. You could psychologically abuse them. That's true. Oh, yeah, definitely. So why do people go for the alpha male? The alpha male is like the seagull that puffs up their wings and viciously comes after other seagulls to get the food. The abuser appeals to the weak-minded, evil people in the world. There are evil people in the world. I used to try to sing, there's no one evil. But there's some people that never apologize. You know, Donald Trump attacked Drew Brees for apologizing, for hurting other people's feelings. He said, don't apologize, it'll make you seem weak. People who have served the military, Donald Trump never served, he dodged a draft. He was calling them weak. He called them weak for trying to get other people help that were on the cruise ship. Navy officer called him weak. Mathis, a general that served the Army, said that Donald Trump has done nothing but divide people. Called the general who served the Army weak. What type of an abuser? How can that appeal to anyone? It's so disheartening to me. Like, I can understand different politics. You're conservative. You like, low taxes. You like low. But that's all fine with me. I get that. We can still debate. I could debate that or just disagree and be upset. But what is disheartening is the abusers in this world that will always be here. Whether it was Hitler who did heinous things or just someone who is horrible to their spouse or to their children. An abuser mindset. Like Vanessa's saying, a narcissistic psycho. It is absolute. It's a spirit in the world that will never leave, and that's disheartening. And no matter how much you tell someone that's in that type of relationship, I don't know if you reach them. I thank God my mom was able to get away. I pushed her. I told my mom at 8 years old, I said, Ma, you got to get divorced. This is killing the family. I was like, I could feel my insides dying. There is not a mechanism in the abuser's mind to ever change. And the people who support that mind, they'll never change. Look, as much as people may not like Hillary, she was 100% right about deplorables. If you look up the definition of deplorable, it basically means someone who will never apologize. And if you look in the Bible, they said there's one sin that's unforgivable. Jesus said there's one sin that's unforgivable. Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. Not blasphemy against Jesus, but someone who's unrepentant will never apologize. That's a deplorable. There are deplorable people in the world. That's an accurate statement. Hillary Clinton got crap for that, but that's accurate. Look, you want to have tax reform, you like conservative policies, that's fine. But to have a certain abusive mindset like I just described, that's a deplorable mindset. You can say, look, I'll never agree with certain things, but you have that right. You have that right to take a knee, or you have that right to whatever. Like my father would come home sometimes, he would break dishes if the table wasn't set. Okay. I remember him even being nasty to his own mother. I remember my father got a pair of socks for Christmas, and he didn't even show gratitude or thankfulness to his mother. He was complaining that they were the wrong socks. He had OCD, obsessive compulsive disorders. There are people that are psychologically damaged. They can never be repaired. Never. A serial killer, you can hug them, you can love them, you can forgive them, all those things are fine, but you're never going to change certain people. Some people can change. I'm not making the statement that people can't change. I'm saying there's some that will never change. Doesn't matter if there's riots, revolutions, fact, fiction, doesn't matter. And so why do I make this video? I make this video to share exactly what is in my soul at this moment. And maybe you are struggling to get away or out of something and you can't get out of this world. And that's the sad part. I feel for you. You're never going to be able to leave this world, but I could tell you can leave a relationship. You're always going to have to deal with these abusers in this world. And that's sad. And I get a little upset with God about that. I said, God, there's no way. God, you created Hitler? You believe God created every person? You believe God created Hitler? You believe God created Donald Trump? Why? Why? To me, I would never create such a human being. Horrible human being. Why? That's a question that may haunt you the rest of your life. So, those are my thoughts tonight, guys. I always try to think about what's really on my mind, in my soul, and going on. And that's exactly it. And so that's how I know that's what I was supposed to share tonight. Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing. And I love you, and I hope you're doing okay. Frank, thank God it is Friday, brother. Thank love to you, brother. I appreciate your positive attitude. I appreciate all your support. Vanessa, Like, yeah, she said that narcissistic psychoabuse is worse than physical abuse. And in many instances, that's an interesting point. She says, in her opinion, I've experienced both. Thank you for sharing, Vanessa. You know, that's so interesting, Vanessa, because, you know, when I was thinking about that today, because I was just beat up mentally. Because, you know, look, I have an overall loving heart. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I try to, you know, it's tough, but I try to apologize if I make the mistake, you know, and try to learn from experience. And I thought I was trying to heal today mentally after a long week, you know, the country's having and the world's having. And I just said, you know, and I felt, you know, so I just like, you know, and then I thought about the Stockholm Syndrome. What is that? I remember watching a movie, maybe I watched it with my mom. It was about a younger lady a younger woman who got abducted by an abuser. And she was abducted so long, she was kept captive so long by this man who molested her and, you know, and mainly, you know, psychologically, of course, physically. And what Stockholm Syndrome means is eventually the abuser leaves the house, right? Like he leaves the house. She's not handcuffed. There's not gates on the door. But psychologically, she has become so brainwashed and so damaged, and I can understand why, that she can't bring herself mentally to leave the house. And that's what they call Stockholm Syndrome, where she starts to sympathize with the abuser above her own well-being. Old Gringo, thank you, man. I love you, man. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate, because sometimes I feel like I just thank you guys for supporting and watching and appreciating me. Thank you. But I thought about that today, man. And, you know, it's sad. It's disheartening. You have to get past it, okay? And there are a lot of good people in the world, or at least decent. We're all human with flaws. I do believe the vast majority are decent. All of us struggle with decent. But there are certain percentage that are abusers. And the worst thing an abuser can have is power. Whether it's in a government, you know, again, you know, whether it's Hitler, any dictator. I mean, you can look at all dictators, you know, just not just dictator, but just a person that is really physically and psychologically hurting. You know, like you say, Donald Trump, I would never compare him to physically what Hitler did to the Jews and the vast amount of people, because that was a disgrace to humanity. But psychologically, Donald Trump has the same mindset. As far as like, there's no relenting with the psychological control over certain people to say, look, I am never going to agree with a liberal policy, but I can agree, and based on our Constitution, I have to, that if people want to protest and take a knee, they can. But I personally disagree, and I can never run on certain policy programs. I could understand that. You know, but it's like, you're never going to get that out. And just like, you know, my father, I tried, before I cut my father out of my life, my parents got divorced at 8. I didn't speak to my father until I was about 18. He tried to come back in my life and offer me like an opportunity to get into electrical union and different help. And I took him up on it, and I tried to meet him halfway. And we rehashed some things, and I forgave, and he said, and let's go forward. And then 10 years or so later, we had an argument, and he reverted back right to the person he was. And even during the 10 years, there was times where it would come out, but I wasn't living with him. I would see him once in a while. You know, he mandated I had to call him once a week. Tyrant. And I even compared Michael Jordan, similar to Donald Trump. You know, Michael Jordan, his mother begged him to support someone that was running for office. And Michael Jordan, because he was the person that was running against the one that Michael Jordan's mom wanted him to support, used to be like an open racist. And Michael Jordan's mom said, look, we have to get this guy out of office. He's an open racist. It was what? And he goes, Ma, Republicans buy sneakers too. And he never took a political stand, because He wanted to capitalize off where, and you saw The Last Dance where he would talk horrible to his teammates. White, black, didn't matter. Michael Jordan showed that he would punch his teammates. He would psychologically abuse his teammates to get the best out of them, or if they were too weak to compete. So it's not a color thing. It's not a Republican Democrat. It's an abuser's mindset. Michael Jordan may not be at the same level of a Trump or certainly not a Hitler, but it's an abuser's mindset. Did you ever see Michael Jordan's acceptance speech at the Hall of Fame? That was the first time I ever got a red flag because I didn't know some of these things about Michael Jordan until I saw his acceptance speech. There's one part that I usually always love to see about an athlete is their Hall of Fame acceptance speech. Because it's at the end of their life, they got nothing to prove, and they usually have a moment of great reflection on how other people helped them to get to where they were. And Michael Jordan got into the Hall of Fame, and his acceptance speech, you know what it was about? Bashing, belittling the guy that made the freshman high school team that beat him out. Because Michael Jordan's one of his famous things that happened to Michael Jordan was he was cut from the high school basketball team, and he didn't make it. He wasn't good enough. And so he invited the guy who made the team over him, and the whole speech, it wasn't about, like, thank God I had Scottie Pippen, thank God I had John Paxson, thank God for, all the people around me, Phil Jackson. The whole speech, the bulk of it was about degrading. Look how better I was than the guy that I was cut for. And it was an embarrassment to him. Almost like what Donald Trump, a Dodge drafter, did to John McCain. John McCain served the army. He was tortured. You can disagree with his he was a gentleman. There was a racist woman that got up in the audience and they said, I'm scared of Barack Obama. I think he's a Muslim. I think he's going to get us. And he goes, no, don't do that. He's a decent guy. I disagree with him politically, but he's not, And I watched Donald Trump disgrace that man who served the country. And so I said, what type of mind? Abuser's mind. Abuser's mind. And that's a real disheartening thing that all of us have to deal with in our walk of life. And I hope you never have to deal with it. I really don't care. This isn't, I know some people will take it political, but this isn't really political for me, even though I'm speaking directly, so you know, it's more psychological. Vote for whoever you want, okay, or whatever. This I'm talking about, at least get out of a horrible relationship. That's at least, okay? I don't care if you leave a Democrat or what doesn't. I'm not talking about that because, guys, I watched Joe Biden's speech today, too. I mean, it was horrible. No energy, man. I felt like I was watching a corpse. And I think that's really hurts me, too, to see America. They got two horrible choices. But after watching, there's no way I could vote for Trump. No way. Can never do it. But it's disheartening, guys. And but I want to encourage you and give you strength, not in me. I don't want to be an alpha male trying to tell you I'll protect you because I think that's a cult. My always thing is I'm sharing with you how I feel. I'm exposing my own thoughts. And I want to encourage you to self-care and get around positive people. And if you can't find anyone positive, I want you to be alone. Love to you, John. Love to you. And it's important. And that's what's on my heart. Let's continue to read. Deb, love to you. Good to see you, Deb. Vanessa. Narcissists blame everyone, themselves, and play the victim. It's never their fault. They never take responsibility at all. They're very angry, fearful, insecure people. It's true. And again, I don't want to put myself on a pedestal where I don't make mistakes or we don't make mistakes. Because all of us are human. Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. But there's a different thing between that. And that's sometimes with a very empathetic person, a sensitive person, which is good. I have a level of that. It's very, I always tell you guys, very important. There's two elements to an abusive relationship. Thank you, Vanessa. Self-discovery year 2020 and awakening. People are revealing and discovering them true selves. Stay positive. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. Thank you, Old Gringo. This is very important. There's two parts of an unhealthy relationship. There's an abuser and an enabler. And my mom is an enabler, and my father could be considered the abuser, and I've seen both in life. So an enabler, the blessing of an enabler is they're a loving, sensitive person. And I've been very fortunate to have a good mother. I know a lot of people that didn't have that opportunity. The downside of being such a loving person is that you can see past so many abusive things, psychologically or physically or emotional. You could look past so many things and stay in such abuse and justify it through love. And it's not right. I think my mom, she even told me, like, Sam, probably without you, I would have never left. And one of my siblings, one of my sisters, she's with a man even worse than my father. And my mom's like cries when she talks about it because she says, Sam, I can't even stomach when she tells me because she knows. She knows the enabler. Now, my sister, she got her issues too. But I'm just trying to give you, I always want you to know that there's two elements to an unhealthy relationship, an abuser and an enabler. And an enabler, as good-hearted person, as sensitive, as loving as they are destroying themselves and allowing the destruction by staying. It's not easy because you look at yourself and you say, well, I'm not perfect either. And that's good. It's good to have humility. But it's bad to be in a destructive relationship. It's very bad. Especially if you have kids. Like I say, I don't think my mom, without me, she may not have left. So, I hope these things help you a little bit. Let's continue to read. Thank you, Old Gringo, and thank you, Vanessa, again. Thank you, everyone. Ati, what's up, man? Hope you're safe there in the U.S. Thank you, man. Much love from the other side of the Atlantic. Well, thank you, Ati. Forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, things are better and things are improving. I see a lot of positive things. The country's healing a little bit, and but sometimes we take a step backwards. Thank you, man. Thank you. Milano, Sammy, verbal abuse is all over every day, 365. It's true, Milano. It's true. And have I ever verbally abused someone else? No, but I was too rough with my dog at the end. I feel that. I remember when my dog was frustrating me at the end of her life because her body was breaking down. I was stressing out. There was a couple days I came home from work, and I never physically abused my dog, but you could verbally abuse. And I think a dog can understand. You say, Sam, what's your biggest failure? That's my biggest failure. Verbal abuse matters. It does. There was a study, for a bunch of people got together, and it was vegetarians and vegans. Vegetarian vegans, and they were trying to figure out if plants are the same as animals. Because plants are living. Like, with vegans, they're very much on not having anything animal-based because animals have, feelings and they're a human. Well, they're not human. They're a being. They're alive, right? So there was a debate that, well, even plants are alive. And there was a study that someone who had a plant, there was two people, right? What is science? Science is doing an experiment, collecting the data, and then forming a conclusion from the experiment. So two people had got two plants. They put it in the same amount of sunlight. They gave it the same water. So there was no variable. That's part of an experiment. You want to put two things in a separate environment, but no variables. Now here was the variable to see if it made a difference. One person who had took care of that plant every day would scream at the plant, would verbally abuse it. And the other one would talk nice to the plant. They got the same sunlight, same water. And the plant that was talked harsh to, for whatever reason, did not grow as healthy as the one that was talked negative to, talked positive to. So, I mean, again, you know, could that be a coincidence? Was there enough data? I don't know. I mean, everything's a little bit debatable. There's no exact science to life. A rose can grow from the concrete. But verbal abuse does matter, you know? And again, there's a difference between, we all say stuff sometimes we want to take back. We're all human. And again, that's where the enabler struggles, because you're sensitive and you realize that we have all failed. If you're honest, if you're humble. But the abuser, if you're noticeable, if you're mindful, the abuser will never, very rarely, there's some abusers that admit they did wrong, but most or some, especially on a psychopath level, they'll never admit that. It's always someone else's fault. So there's a little bit different dynamic there, but it's, something you guys got to really pay attention to. Let's take a hydration break. Good job, Milano. Old Gringo, yo, what's up, man? Old Gringo. I'm at work now, but I work alone. Well, Old Gringo, love to you, man. I want to spend most of my life alone. It's good to have some social interaction. It's healthy, and I do. I have a level of social interaction. But yeah, I'm better off alone. And so love to you, brother. We're very similar in that aspect. Hope you're doing well, and you be able to be by the border and enjoy your life as best you can, Old Gringo. Thank you for your graciousness, brother. Vanessa, physical abuse is easily seen and proven. Narcissists blame everyone but themselves and destroy people. They're very fearful, angry, and insecure individuals. Recovering from them is hard, no closure. It is. Getting out of a relationship is hard. I didn't appreciate that till I got older, because I really never, even though I've had my heart broken and I've broken other people's hearts, I never really struggled to get out of a relationship. I've always been like, even if I could always get over it. There was only one time that I struggled to get over a relationship. It was in my early 30s. And I was seeing this girl for a little bit. And I don't know why. She wasn't a bad person, a little bit manipulative, but I played the game. I knew who she was, so I take accountability for my own decisions. And overall, she was a good person, but we didn't have any type of major blowout or anything, but we decided to go our separate ways, and I made that decision. And that was the first time in my life that I really struggled to get away from a relationship. Now, I had no contact. I didn't pursue her after that, but I cried for months, and it was very hard for me not to make contact with her. And I was broken emotionally. At some point in life, you'll be broken if you're a human that has humility. If you're an abuser, I don't know, you'll probably be broken, but you'll never admit it, or you'll just find someone else to abuse to make up for that. I don't know. But I remember I felt it was very hard. And I don't know why, because I wasn't even with her that long. But for some reason, it was hard. And I felt what I guess a lot of people feel when they have to get a divorce, or when they have to leave someone they've been with for a long time. It's very hard to get out. And it wasn't an abusive relationship. It was just a relationship. So I said to myself, Sam, make a mental note in your life that getting out of a relationship is not easy. And then if you add abuse to it, it's got to be even harder. And I'll never forget. I guess God took me through that to have empathy. Because I never really appreciated how hard it was to get out of a relationship till I experienced that. It was a weird thing, man. And I was devastated for some reason. It took me months to even get my wind back. To be able to it took me a year or so to get my confidence back. But there was a combination of things. Now, my dog died. I broke up with her. I was probably having a little bit of a midlife crisis. And it was a tough time in my life, where I was really, I lost my confidence. I lost my mojo. And because you need your confidence to get out of an abusive relationship. That's key. Why do some people vote for Donald Trump? Why do some people stay in an unhealthy relationship? They have no confidence. They need the alpha male to protect them, to look after them. They need the Michael Jordan. to help win them a championship. They don't believe in themselves that they can either have a successful career without them, or they're not happy without winning it. And so that's interesting. Thank you, Peppa Pig. Yeah, I didn't know that. But let's continue. Old Gringo, thank you again, brother. Yeah, I'm going to have some water on you. I've been drinking Starbucks. There's a cute girl in the Starbucks up here. She looks like Madonna in Madonna's young ages. You know, remember, what was Madonna's first album in the 80s? Her first two albums, what were they called? Maybe Material Girl and Like a Virgin? And she had like that dirty blonde hair. Now, usually I like my Latino MILFs, but this one girl, she looks like a young Madonna. She got something special about her. So, that's been a little bit fun just to flirt with her. Old Gringo. Thumbs up. Thank you, brother. Tony. Sam. How are you doing, brother? Good, man. Good to see you, brother. I love you. Just got back from practice. Well, keep playing your saxophone, brother. Guys, when you're really struggling in life, or just any time in life, keep movement. Keep, going for a walk, even if you have to cry. Keep playing your saxophone. A healthy routine will save you from idle time. Idle time is the devil's playground. It's good to laugh, Vanessa. Space Jam. You like Space Jam? Tony. Jordan is a horrible person, cares more about money than his own race, more about shoes than people. I don't really buy sneakers, but I have Shaqs. I had Shaqs, the pump-ups. I had those. Why? At least he cares and helps everybody. Well, I will admit, maybe he has a little bit better mechanism to change, because he has at least admitted to some things and has spoke out recently on other things. And I saw even in the documentary, at least he cried and had a level of remorse that he recognized he was a tyrant. So there's different levels. Like Elon Musk said, his father never even recognized that he was a tyrant. Donald Trump doesn't even admit that he's a tyrant. So there are different levels to abusers. It's an interesting thing. Iris, I agree with you. Thank you, Iris. I appreciate all your positive comments on my channel. Thank you, Iris. Milano, Sammy, abuse is in a different way. True. Political power, yeah. Position like CEO, boss, yes, very true. And stress, they go together. Milano, excellent comment. That's why I do believe that minimalism and living simple is key to get away from abuse. Yep. Whether it's at your job, whether it's in a family. Guys, if you have a house and you have to borrow money from your abusive father, you're never going to hear the end of it. If you get laid off and you're not living simple, you got to do horrible things. You got to deal with horrible people. And there's been plenty of people I met, mainly on this one, women who are trying to get away from an unhealthy relationship. I don't know if they'll ever live in their car, but at least they have hope, because they're scared and they know they're in a bad relationship. Look, I try to be very honest with you guys that I would never want to put you in a bad position. I would never want you to just go live in your van or car or something like that without money, a job, or a mental ability to live on your own. And I mean that. There's risk. But I want you to really get out of an unhealthy relationship. I really do. Even if it's going to be a little bit tough, and I'm not going to say that living in your car is for everyone, or living in a van, or God forbid, even having to go to a homeless shelter. I know they're a disaster, but I want you to try everything you can in a healthy, safe way to get out of an unhealthy relationship, because it won't change. It only gets worse. It only gets worse. And living simple, why it's not perfect, why it doesn't solve all the problems of the world, at least you're out of the system a little bit where you don't need much to live. And I'm going to do a video about that tomorrow. What do you need to live in your car? You don't need much. Okay. Now there's sacrifice, and it's not for everyone. And, you got to have a level of health mentally and physically. But look, whether it's a car, RV, or a small apartment or whatever, you got to have some independence to get away from the abuse. It's not healthy for you. Tony, I disagree with McCain's politics. But the man was a hero, served years in Hannah Hilton, as the boys called it. The man suffered for, you got to respect that. Yeah, I respect just how he handled himself. Look, I didn't like his politics either, but he was respectful to Obama. He was respectful to everyone. Really, before Donald Trump came along, no one was really disrespectful to John McCain. People disagree with him. They fought with him, they debated with him, but no one disrespected him like Trump. And to me, like, guys, if you think Donald Trump's going to heaven, there's not a just God in the world. There's not a just God in the world. Because I don't know how you can be like that. I mean, I can understand you make mistakes. I can understand, like, you do the wrong thing, you got to apologize. But to live like that, and to be a psychopath, like, and maybe he's just a psychopath like Hitler or something like that. And again, I'm not comparing certain people to Hitler because Hitler did horrible things, but the mindset. It's like, is there, like, do you think Hitler's going to heaven? I don't. I mean, so there's got to be a hell, right? You would think. So, for the unrepentant, abusive mind, I don't know how. Thank you, Frank. Again, I hate to make horrible comparisons and bring up horrible people, but it's something that I think about. Like, there's no way horrible people can go to heaven. Especially if they're not going to repent. I mean, even the Bible tells us that there'll be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. That whoever doesn't repent will go into the lake of fire. So, I don't know, man. John, you're the best. Thank you, brother. Love, strength to you, brother. Well, strength to you also, brother. I feel the mental strains of life, and I pray for you also that you have the mental strength and the grace of God to get through this challenging period. And as you get older, your mind, all of our minds are wore down. Like when you're younger, it's not as easy to pull a hamstring, but as you get older, it's easier to get hurt. Like if you think about that, I see my mom, she's very frail. And I always tell her, be careful because I don't want you to fall. Because when you're old, you will fear falling. There's even a scripture that says that. Because when you fall, when you're elderly, your bones are weak and they can break. So that's physically. Think about mentally. Think about all the things you've been through in life, good and bad. As you get older, your mind, it gets weak. I don't say I'm weak, frail. No, now you got the abusers who their mind is always on psychopath. And so a lot of people who are scared because, like, guys, even though I could be very sensitive, all that, I know I have to say, Sam, tough, and, because I know life's a fight and I could fight it. But I have empathy on how some people, they're not able to hit that switch. I'll hit the switch if I have to. I try not to. But I know why some people run to the alpha male, the abusive psychopath alpha male, because they know that they need someone else to fight for them. And that's fine because out of 10 people, you need one manager. There's more followers than leaders. However it is, most of humans are meant to be followers. So it's not bad to be a follower. But I think about many psychopaths are able to become the leader because that's the way life is. People want to follow. People need to follow. I think about Jim Jones, who was a religious man, I think in the 70s, a cult leader. And he grew up in the deep South, I think. Then he moved to California, and then he went down to South America. Ghana, I believe. And all these people followed him. I mean, he started to, initially, like most things, even like Hitler, initially he started like, we're going to do like good. We're going to have programs, we're going to do good. But then he turned and he basically used them as slaves. And so they get down to Ghana, and a family member of one of the followers had called a United States Senate, I think a senator. And the senator went down to see what was going on, if this was really a cult of U.S. citizens. And the senator interviewed Jim Jones. And Jim Jones acted like everything was good. Like you interviewed Donald Trump, like he'll act like everything's good, this and that. And then when the senator left, Jim Jones knew that his time was up. So what he decided to do was he had the senator shot, and then he had everyone in the church drink the Kool-Aid. He poisoned the Kool-Aid, and he told them, look, we're gonna commit mass suicide. The world is meaningless. We did everything. Now it's time to die. And because he was disillusioned with life and he knew the gig was up, it wasn't enough for him to take himself out. He wanted to take everyone with him out. And if you didn't drink the Kool-Aid, he had his officers shoot you in the back of the head with your children. There's a lot of psychopaths that have been religious leaders. Like I told you, the guy who created Scientology, people thought he was mentally insane. Moses, when he got off the mountain with 10 commandments and the people didn't want to listen to him, the Bible says he killed 3,000 people, men, women, and children. Like, they don't teach it. Like, you know, when you teach your child, like, you know, Moses or something, Moses killed 3,000 people, men, women, and children. A lot of psychopaths started religions. Why? Because most people are followers. And even I got out of the church because I started to see the mindset of faith is good. And some of the principles in the Bible or any other spiritual literature are blessing. But it gets to a certain point where it could be dogmatic. And if you have the wrong leader, it could become a cult that is horrible. Now, it may not get to a point where Jim Jones, where everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid, but it could be a scam just to get your money or to get your obedience, and it becomes horrible. A lot of people know that the mind is weak. And they know that a lot of people, just the way the world is, they're followers. Again, if you've ever been to a job, you don't have 10 managers and one worker. You have 10 workers and one manager. Why? Most people are followers. It's the way it is. So, if you're ever in a position of power, it's more important to be a compassionate. You got to be firm sometimes. And you say, you know, so don't be, you know, afraid to be firm, but you got to have empathy. And you got to take that leadership position, because if you don't take it, Donald Trump will take it. Someone else will take it. And the people who follow need the good people to speak up, to be in leadership position. You don't have to be a president. Maybe you're a manager at Walmart. You know. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have to be firm at times. It doesn't mean you're not going to have to fire people at times. You know, Donald Trump got his way to glory from firing people, promoting his family members and firing people. And people loved it. Why did people love it? The same reason they loved that Simon Cowell guy. The same reason they love Mr. Wonderful. For some psychological reason, yes, they're speaking the truth, but these people that speak so brashly, we almost want to be degraded. Now, I don't want to be degraded, but a lot of people do. I don't know why. Again, it's dangerous because there could be a level of truth in what they're saying. The biggest abuser has a level of truth and a bunch of deception. That's the biggest abuser. Because you can't say that everything he's saying is wrong. Because if you could say everything he's saying is wrong and prove it, then you say, well, it's a no-brainer. But if he puts a little bit of truth, it's enough to make it, to cast reasonable doubt in the followers. And they say, well, maybe he's not right about that, but he was right about that. So he can't be all wrong. And that's all a follower needs to know, is that, well, if he's not all wrong, then maybe he's not bad, not all bad. And that's what an enabler does. An enabler justifies all the wrong. An abuser survives because an enabler justifies all that is wrong. And you got to be very careful, guys, because it's something in our psyche. Let's take a hydration break. We'll continue to read. John, I love you, brother. Peppa. Hello, Sam. Hey, Peppa. Weather been great. It has been good. I'm very thankful for that. Looks like weather good, New Jersey. It is, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm grateful. I need that sun. I need that vitamin D, and I need to be by the ocean. I cannot be inland, and I cannot be in cold weather. It's not mentally healthy for me. Not physically, emotionally, psychologically. I can't do it. So I'll be a snowbird if I have to, and I'm grateful for my time with my mom, but I will be in Florida in the winter. Even if I told my mom, we'll rent a place. Uh, but I can't do the winters. Can't do it. And if you're like me, guys, downsize, sell, get your van, RV, or rent something down south in the winter. Florida. I'll never stay in South Carolina. They're still backwards. It's going to take South Carolina another 100 years to even consider the philosophy of Black Lives Matter or anything like that. Now, see, they get offended when they hear that. White lives matter too. We know that. But what you're trying to do is empathize that you have a small percentage of the population, okay, that have historically been looked at a certain way. And even now, if you're honest with yourself, if Donald Trump was a black man in America, would there not be a different way he was looked at? Of course. So, guys, I don't think all of America is racist. I don't think, I don't know about most, but racism still exists. And if you don't believe me, look at the YouTube look at the comment section. I saw some videos just about basic decency towards races and understanding one another. And I looked at some of the videos this week in the comment section, and there's still people talking horribly about race. What kind of, and I guess it'll always be like that, man. But look, guys, it's still out there, and there's nothing wrong. It doesn't belittle you by encouraging someone else and trying to understand someone else. If you're a confident, good person. If you're insecure, you have to say, well, my life matters too. Guys, you're not even understanding what the philosophy is, okay? So, just because you uplift someone else doesn't mean you're degrading yourself unless you think lowly of yourself already. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people think lowly of themselves. I didn't realize that till I got older. Because that's one thing, like, look, I got my flaws, but the Lord has always given me a level of confidence and toughness. And so I didn't realize in life how many people don't have self-esteem. I mean, it's shocking. If you ever have an enlightening moment when you realize, like I was blessed enough, I dated some beautiful women. And believe it or not, the beautiful women were the most insecure. Because I dated a couple sevens. I did a lot of 10s. I did a couple sevens. And you'd be surprised. The sevens in their mind, some of them have better self-esteem than 10s. Guys, self-esteem, self-confidence is very attractive. Because it's very rare. And that's why an abuser is able to deceive the enabler through arrogance. Arrogance is not self-confidence. Arrogance is the manipulation of the idea of self-confidence. People want to be around other confident people because most people are insecure. Most people have low self-esteem. So you get attached to an alpha male like Trump or someone like that. And then all of a sudden, what you don't realize is they don't have self-esteem. They have an abusive mind, They have a power and control hungry mind. They don't really want you to be free. They want you to always be on the hook to them. Never borrow money from people, guys. If you can ever help it. I couldn't always help it. And God forbid, as much as you can help it, never borrow money from people. Live simple. Because the more you're on the hook to other people, guys, you'll never hear the end to it. You'll never hear the end of it. You'll always owe them. And the minute you own a house, you have to have someone's help to do the renovations. Even good people, guys, don't get a house, in my opinion, unless it's so small that you can take care of all of it. Why? Because every time you ask for help, there's strings attached for most people. And just what I learned. Vanessa, thank you again for that gracious tip and for your membership. She goes, 2020 is definitely a year of self-discovery and awakening. People are revealing and discovering their true selves. Stay positive. Vanessa, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing tonight and what you've been through. I know it's not easy. Keep pushing forward, Vanessa. I'm praying for you in your job with your manager. I know that's not easy. I know you got a little tough time, but you got to get the money bag. Like you said, if you can, DoorDash on the weekend and try to find another job when you have a job, because I don't want you to stay somewhere where it's unhealthy. But every job has a challenge. There's no doubt about that. And there's no doubt about that. So there's never going to be a perfect thing. But that's why for Vanessa and to all of us, it's so important to have a healthy home life. Why? Because in a job, you kind of have to deal with people sometimes you may not like, and they may be a little bit abusive. But at home, you have to have, even whether it's your car, house, apartment, you have to have a sanctuary. You can't go home to abuse and deal with abuse. You'll kill yourself. I've known people that have literally killed themselves because they had nowhere to go home to relax. That matters. You have to have some time where you're healing. Like Donald Trump today, even after all the country's been through the past week, he still made a tweet to say no kneeling. The country can't even heal. Why? Because there's no rest. There's a scripture that says no rest for the weary. So guys, don't get weary in well-doing, but you got to have a sanctuary. Not a big house. You don't have to own a house. You don't have to have an RV, but you got to have some place to go to feel safe and to enjoy yourself and to build up your self-confidence. Guys, your alone time is a time to build your self-confidence up. But see, when you're dealing with an abuser, even when you're alone, you're playing their thoughts in your mind. And that's that Stockholm Syndrome. Like the abuser left the house for the day. You're in the house, you could escape, but you replay the abuser's thoughts in your mind. And now you yourself, you start to feel bad about yourself. There's some people, they're never going to change. Just like Elon Musk's father. Tried to be nice to him, tried to be tough with him. Tried to appeal to him emotionally, tried to appeal to him intellectually. But no matter what method he chose, his father was still abusive. And that's a powerful lesson. Now let's continue. Lila, a.k.a. Zach. Hey, Lila. Hey, Nomad, I got a question. Why Trump stop his Twitter? But he's a psycho because Trump and his staff, his friends, abusing on CNN. Trump is a disgrace to humanity. He's a horrible human being. And I want to find common ground with the good and decent people. I got a great viewer, Sarah, BVT, that they voted for Trump. And I know some people I worked with and some good people, and I love them. But I in my personal life, I got to say it, I don't want to hurt them, but I hate Trump. I think he's a horrible human being. And again, it's not, for me, it's not just political. It's just who he is as a person. You could say, Sam, look, we'll get Trump at it. Like Michael Pence, even though he's a yes man at Trump, and to me that's almost a bigger disgrace, but at least he has some decency. And I don't like that he's complacent like Trump's children either, but I mean, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. Trump's a horrible human being. I hate to say it, he is. If it comes to it, narcissists, whatever kind of abuse, there has to be a point where you say enough is enough. Yeah, remember Jennifer Lopez did that movie. It was called Enough because that's what she went through. I think that's what my mom went through. Sometimes being alone is best. I totally agree. Because then you can learn to love yourself. That's a job the rest of your life, You say, Sam, what's your biggest job in your life? It's to love yourself. You're going to be with yourself longer than you'll be with anyone else in this world. But most people struggle with self-esteem. And I didn't realize that till I got older. I said, man, a lot of people really struggle with how they look at themselves. Not just physically, because I knew beautiful women that they physically look gorgeous, but there was something psychological. They didn't never felt good about themselves. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, I dated some sevens and they always thought they looked good. Why you don't feel, So, but it's out there. Tony, all abuse matters, Sam, but the most important thing is trying to figure out the mentally and fit. But of course, there are others who beat the pillage others' sanity and think they're doing nothing wrong. We're all human. And again, even I've made failures, but it's okay if there's a sincere repentance. Obviously, all of our things have consequences sometimes. But when there's no repentance, when there's no apology, and Drew Brees apologized for hurting others, and Donald Trump abused him just for apologizing. And I saw other psychopaths on Twitter and YouTube co-sign, You should never apologize. It's a sign of weakness. Guys, that's deplorable. That's certainly not Christian. Guys, it is certainly not Christian to not apologize. So, but like I say, I think most people are not even close to Christian. I think most people are not even religious. I just think that they're psychopaths, and religion made them feel safe. And they tribe up. That's what I really think. Let's continue to read. Tony. Some people are like radiation. Best to stay away from. Toxic people, you can't win with them. That's so true. But when they're in a position of power, you can't stay away from them. That's the problem. Like, you work with a person that you have to work with, you can't get away from them. You know, because an abuser knows how to go right to the limit. Like Donald Trump said when he was impeached, he said, I knew what I was saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. Some people think I'm dumb, but I know what to say. And he does. He knows he bordered. He went as close as you could to manipulating the Ukrainian president and saying, look, we're not going to give you money if you don't investigate. But he didn't say it. So, guys, an abuser is dangerous because they're a great deceiver. They know how to push it all the way, but not all the way. You know what I mean? That's the worst type of human being there is in this world, man, because they're not direct. They're a deceiver. Vanessa? Deb, yes. There's a lot of resources online for narcissistic abuse recovery. You're healed when you trust your gut and spot them early. Trust your instincts and be nice to yourself. Yes, and use science. What is science? Science is collecting data and forming a decision. So, if a person has a history of abuse, they have a pattern of behavior. It doesn't mean they can't change, but most don't. There's two parts of life, art and science. Art is trusting your gut, and you should. But Donald Trump always says he just trusts his gut. There is a part of life, though, that's science and a pattern of behavior that is proven to be fact. So you need both because there's no exact science to life. So I would say, yes, listen to your instincts and look at that person's behavior. What do you do before you hire someone? You look at their resume to see their pattern of behavior. Do they leave a job every year? So you know if you hire them, they're probably going to leave your company in a year. Or are you going to invest in them then? You're not going to invest. So a lot of people don't get hired because their resume shows a pattern of behavior of not staying with a company long. So you have to remember when someone comes in your life in a personal way, a date is an interview. A pattern of behavior is a red flag. Doesn't mean people can't change, but it's a red flag. A dog abuse, people leave them out, don't take care of them. It's a disgrace. And that's true or false. People do, people don't. Now, look, dogs like to be outside, but a lot of people get a dog and they don't take care of it and they abuse it. Again, we all have moments of weakness, but to live in abuse, and obviously when I see dogs or animals abused, it's horrible. And that's why I've also met a lot of people who have been abused. They get an emotional support dog. Because the biggest blessing about a dog is the unconditional love. And an abuser doesn't want you to feel loved. They want you to be controlled. Because real love will set you free. And so I always tell you guys, there's two parts of an unhealthy relationship, an abuser and an enabler. So when an enabler gets away from an abuser, they need an emotional support. They get an emotional support dog. Now, it's something to take care of that dog. But an enabler needs a support, a system of love to free themselves from the abuse and to build up their self-esteem. When a dog licks you, when a dog cuddles with you, when a dog is loving you, that's building your self-confidence. And sometimes people don't know how to receive love. And there's some people that don't have the mechanism to love. Like I say, Elon Musk said his father, he tried to love him, but his father could not receive love. There's some people like that. They just can't receive it. I don't know why. Can't explain it. Angel, hey, Sam. Miss you here in Florida. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Angela. Thinking you'll come back in the fall. Yes, I'll definitely be back by latest November, but I think probably by October latest. So I'll probably be up north now at least till September. I want to wait till after hurricane season. August and September are the worst of hurricane season. So by October, I should be there. November the latest. But yeah, I'll definitely be back. Yep. And I miss you guys too. I love all my Floridians. That's my home. I love you, Angela. Thank you. Old Ringo. Prayer emoji. Thank you, brother. Thank you for your love. Thank you and Vanessa for the super chats. Love to you both. Thank you for being the members too. Mike. What's up, brother? Sam, I started my Facebook deletion. Mark Zuckerberg soon won't be able to molest me in 30 days. I hear you, Mike. Backwards, good to see you, man. I love you. Yeah, I mean, I deleted my Facebook and my Instagram. YouTube, if you read too much of the comment section, it could be just mentally damaging, but I think YouTube is the healthiest social media there is. I don't know why. Like, even like when I deleted my Instagram, my Facebook, I was almost doing it to help other people too, because I could go on a posting spree, and I know like my friends and people who follow me, they get inspired by me, but sometimes, like when you have a rush of inspiration, if someone's really hurting and they see it in their feed, it can hurt them to read that. So, and I do think Facebook and Instagram, I think like if you're giving them free content, they should compensate you. Now, some people make some money off this Instagram, but social media is a huge social experiment mentally. It has a lot of benefit, and I'm grateful for it, but it really is tough mentally. Like, to me, I think the first real society challenge with social media, I think, was during Trayvon Martin, the case a few years back. That's when there was first a huge, contentious political, racial division in America when everyone was on social media. That was like the first one, because Rodney King and all that stuff, no one has social media. Trayvon Martin, everyone has social media, and that was the first time there was an explosion. And ever since then, politics and social media and videos that went viral, it's tough. And people have lost relationships forever because of social media. Because now you know what's well, I don't want to say you know what's in someone else's head. Because a post, with not taking out of context, could be very misleading. So the video platform is a little bit better because you can listen to the conversation and get better context. But like, but look, even like you can look at someone's page and look at the overall mindset that they have towards life. And that, you can't really take that out of context. That's their mindset. Most people are decent. They may disagree with you politically. They may have a different way they live life. But I don't believe most people are out to hurt. However, most people are followers. And the abusers know that. And the abusers, if they're in power, their life is even harder. And it doesn't matter what the stock market does. Because, well, it does matter because money makes people happy. And, including me, we all need money. But money covers up for abuse. Like, if you think about that, like if you depend on a man, for an example, it could be the other way around, but if you depend on someone else for bringing a certain amount of money to the household, and if you leave them, you don't have enough, you're stuck in an abusive relationship. So if Donald Trump uses the stock market to hold it over the head of the American country and say, look, without me, the stock market goes down. That's the same thing as a husband telling a wife, look, without me, you can't make it on your own. If you really love this country, you would say, you know what? Even if I'm not in office, this country is great enough to continue on without me. That's how you know Donald Trump don't love America. If you loved America, you would say, look, even without me, this country's great. If you really loved another person, you would say, look, even though I would hate to break up with you, if that's what's best for you, I know you'll do great in life. That's how you tell someone if they love you. Whoever is willing to let you go on your own path and not wish bad things on you, that's who loves you. That's the difference between an abuser and the right people. And that's why, look, we can say that Donald Trump's a horrible human being. Let's take a hydration break. Vanessa. Excuse me, Vanessa. I just got blow my nose. I love you guys. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Vanessa and Old Gringo, for the super chats and for being members. Thank you, everyone. Take the time. Please click that thumbs up. Thank you. Vanessa, they'll admit they're wrong. They'll admit they're wrong sometimes just to get you back in their web, yes? Then you realize they're not sorry at all. Nope. They think they're dumb for coming. Yeah. They think you're dumb for coming back. Then you deserve it then. Yeah, that's horrible. There's so much psychological warfare. Another way to know you're in a bad relationship is if you know you're playing a game with someone else, get out of that relationship. Not even in a lover's quarrel, but I've met some people in life that they go to therapy just to see if they can be stronger than the therapist, if they can manipulate the therapist. And they try that on me because they know, like, I'm a type of person, like, I'm insightful. And as soon as I see they're playing like a psychological game, I'm not your therapist. Don't play a psychological game with me. If you want to talk about life and you want to try to build each other up and share, I'm all for that. That's therapy. But I'm not for playing like some psychological game. You know, guys, never try to fix someone else or play that game. That's horrible. Let's continue. Lala, I'm here to talk to you live, Nomad. Lila, a.k.a. Zach, you're a great human being. We appreciate you and we love you. Angela, and why are you sweating? Because it's hot in New Jersey right now. Not that bad here in South Florida. It's hot today in Jersey. I got my windows rolled up because I want to respect my environment and not, be so loud that other people can hear me because I try to respect other people's space. Peppa, Michael Jordan known to tip Chicago waitstaff. His ex-wife was known to send money days later to the waiter. Oh, he didn't tip? Oh, he did not tip, and his wife had to send the tip. Oh, that's interesting. To the waiter days later. I don't care for him, just rude man. I agree. Look, great basketball player, but a tyrant in his own words. Yeah, that's true. Lila, Vanessa, I hope I add you to... Oh, you subscribed to Vanessa? Thank you, Lila. Tony. Yeah, Vanessa's got a video. Vanessa, we love you. We'll support you. Thank you, Lila. Tony, I've heard stories like that too, but my boy was always Larry Bird. Still got his shoes. Magic. Hey, Sam, you remember the old Converse? Yeah, I remember the old Converse. Magic Johnson was my guy, at least on the court. I saw in the Last Dance too where Michael Jordan beat the Pacers, and then he Larry Bird came afterwards to congratulate him, and then Michael Jordan degraded him and called him a bitch or whatever, said something in his ear. And that's the other thing about abuser. Even when they win, they rub it in your face. Like, for an abuser, it's not enough for them to win. They have to, rub it in your face. And these are interesting things. Vanessa, Space Jam was awesome, though, inspiring and funny. I remember Space Jams when it came out, but I don't really remember watching it and liking it. I don't know. So maybe it just wasn't on my radar. But I do remember Space Jams. I mean, he was like the biggest celebrity on earth. And I'm at you. Tony. Sam, he got kicked out of the league for gambling. Well, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that Michael Jordan's father may have died because of a gambling debt. He got in bed a little bit with the mafia. That's why he played baseball. I've heard that from several people. Documented interviews with mobsters and with league officials. Yep. Vanessa. Thanks, Lila. Have a great weekend. That's awesome. Tony. Hey, why do people have stars? What's up with that? Well, if you have a star next to your name, like Backwoods, Old Gringo, Vanessa, you're a member. So every Sunday, I do a members-only chat. It's part of my channel. I started a couple weeks ago. So if you'd like to be a member, you click the blue join button. It's a blessing. And every Sunday, like I say, it's just us in the chat room. And I may do more as we grow. And I'm very grateful for all my members. So you also get 5 custom emojis. And I may add to that, and I may change the badge. But I did that custom badge. I like the way it looks next to the name. I think it looks pretty cool. Old Gringo, I'm not perfect. Me neither, brother. My life isn't perfect. I hear you. I've made mistakes. Amen. Apologizing is key, though. But right now, I feel blessed. Yes. And look, guys, when you make a mistake, look, you got to apologize, Now, that doesn't mean you stay in the relationship. It doesn't mean you stay where you're at. And you have to be careful when you're dealing with abusers. Don't even get tangled in their web. But as a general practice, whether it's at work or whatever, look, if you did something wrong and you know it was wrong, you apologize. It's not easy, but you apologize, and that's a sign of strength, not weakness. Like I can't believe Donald Trump shamed Drew Brees for apologizing. Donald Trump has never apologized for anything. He's a weak-minded man. Well, he's strong-minded, but he's an abuser. And other weak-minded people follow the alpha male because they're scared to be alone. Vanessa, Tony, we paid for a membership to the channel. I'm very grateful for that. Tony, oh, you can do that? How much is it? $9.99 per month. You cancel at any time. Frank, birthday cake emoji. Frank, oh yeah, those are all the custom member emojis. It's a girl writing a love note, birthday emoji, and then it's a guy laughing on the ground and a mic drop emoji. John Soul, thumbs up, thank you. Frank, when you are in Florida, where do you meet most of the women? Beach, gym, shopping, etc. Beach, parks, and Starbucks. Because that's where I spend most of my time. Some in the gym. So, yeah, usually it's at the beach, Starbucks, or the gym. But I try not to get too entangled because I like to spend most of my time by myself. John, thumbs up. Thank you, brother. Did you see my online chat when I wrote you Nomad, my comment live? Did you read it? No, I read every comment. I don't know if I missed yours, did I? Tony, it was Gina killed a lot of people. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Oh, it was Guyana? Yeah, Guyana. Thank you, Tony. Tony, yep, he killed the senator. Did he end up killing him? I thought so. Thank you. Lila, Trump is a disgrace. I agree with you. Tomasco, what's up, man? I was 18. I saw that Guyana massacre. Yeah, what a disaster. On the news. Sad, man. And it shocked me to the core. Yeah, if you have time tonight, guys, don't hurt yourself mentally, but YouTube search Jim Jones in Guyana and watch because they have video interviews with the members, with Jim Jones himself, and you can watch that story, man. It's even though it's like not the best thing to watch, it's good to know the history. Because, guys, here's the key thing. What he had nailed on the back of the community center post was those who don't know their history repeat their history. And you need to know the Jim Jones story, or else you're going to go into a cycle of abuse and you'll never get out. Tony, hey, oh yeah, Ron Hubbard, the Scientology guy, he was a psychopath. Was a psychopath, yeah. FYI, he's the most prevalent fiction writer of all time. And these insane people follow him and give millions. They broke into the U.S. government office and stole files. He's a psychopath. A lot of religious leaders. Moses was a psychopath. He killed 3,000 people, men, women, and children. There's no way you could say in today's times that's not a psychopath. So I think Elon Musk is borderline psychopath. So it's interesting. John, a good manager wants to hear everything. Yes. And a good manager is loving and firm. I mean, there's sometimes you got to be firm, but look, guys, you have to have empathy. You want to be fair. Sometimes you want to give grace, and you want to take care of the people who take care of you. And you just want to be a good person. And John, I've heard you speak. I mean, I'm not with you all the time, but I've heard you speak, and you're a good person, man. So none of us are perfect. You just want to be a good person. I mean, it's very simple, but it's very hard, and it takes work. But take the position and be the leader, because if it ain't you, someone else going to take it, and it ain't going to be good. Good job, John. John, I don't agree with everything you say, but I always respect everything you say. Thank you, John. Lila, keep it simple. Life as simple possible, and do more things separately. High-cost house. Well, like I say, definitely keep things simple, okay? And a house is your second biggest expense in your lifetime. What's your first? Having a child. So having a child is your biggest expense, then having a house, then your transportation. Your three biggest expenses are a child, a house, and transportation. So even if you had children, if they're getting ready to be empty nesters, even though you're always going to take care of them, whatever, you're getting ready to relieve that burden a little bit. So look at your house and look at your transportation if you're looking to cut your lifestyle so that you can live more simple. Jay Bird, hey, Jay Bird, thumbs up and smiles to you. Love to my Floridians, my caretakers taking care of the Trumpers. Jay Bird's a caretaker down in Florida. She got a Trumper on her hands. And I don't know, Jay Bird, I'm praying for you. I shout to all my nurses. Nursing is a great profession. Doctors, caretakers, hard profession, man. Now, I did notice one older lady in Florida. She would come to Starbucks every day. She was protesting the government about something. And she was a Trumper. And we got along great, guys. I get along with everyone. I mean, obviously, look, I have deep thoughts. These are my personal space. I'm going to share on it. But we got along. She loved me. Every day she would come to Starbucks and tell me about something. And I would listen to her. Guys, even I show love to everyone if they're peaceful. Okay? Now, even if they're, but I told, we were the same thing. Like, if someone takes a peaceful knee, I don't know why I had a problem with it. But some people do. But she used to talk to me every day, and she was struggling because she had to take care of her husband, who was basically elderly and seriously declining. And she hated being home. So she would come to Starbucks not to work because she was retired, but to get away from her husband. Why? Because being a caretaker is the hardest job you'll ever have in your life. After a period of time, it'll break you. Because taking care of yourself is hard enough, but if you take care of someone else, it's very hard. So love to all my caretakers out there. See, that's why also you need a professional caretaker. Why? Because when a nurse or a doctor go into the office, they know they're going to leave and go home to a sanctuary. When you are taking care of someone full-time in your house, you're never going home. So it's a never-ending caretaking thing, and it could basically break you. I remember one of the first interviews I watched that really spoke to me was some lady, I forgot her name. It was a famous lady who was a caretaker to her husband. Her husband was famous. And her husband finally died, but he suffered for like 2-3 years with declining health in their house. And she was being interviewed by Larry King. And Larry King said, well, what do you think? How do you feel now that your husband's dead? And the wife said, you know what? I know a lot of people are going to be offended by me saying this, but I think that it's helpful for people to know the honest truth. I feel relieved. She goes, after taking care of my husband for 3 years in such bad health, obviously I didn't want him to suffer anymore, but I got tired of taking care of him. It was just too much. When you know you're not going to get off work and go home to peace, there's something that your mind is not able to recover. And you could become, that's why I always tell you, the caretaker can become the undertaker. Because there's no disconnect between, that demanding job, emotionally, mentally demanding job of taking care of someone. Oh, it's a powerful thing, man. Backwoods, love to you, man. Shout to the Northwest. Hey, Sammy, I hope all's well. I love you, brother. Shout to you, man. Shout to the Northwest. I appreciate you, man. Man, your channel chat, follow me, Instagram and Twitter. Well, I don't have either one anymore. Well, I have a generic one, but I really don't follow anyone. I shouldn't even look at Trump's tweet today. It made me throw up in my mouth. Angela, what worries you the most about the future? Yeah, that's a good question, but I don't know, Well, I guess I do know now that I say that. I guess my biggest worry or concern is I know my mom will pass away. That will be a thing, not that but it will be a thing that I'll have to deal with. And then after that, I really don't have any worry because I really have no other attachments. So then it's just like when I get elderly, I know I'll die alone. I'm fine with that. But as long as I'm in a peaceful area and hopefully I can die peacefully, I'm okay with that. So To me, my biggest worries are being entangled with something and knowing I have to go through the suffering with them or with the situation. For me, I suffer when I feel like I can't get out of something. I have to have flexibility. I have to be a free bird. So, you know, you know, but as far as like the future in the world and like AI or nuclear bombs or uh, I really don't worry about any of that, man. I don't know. It's just for me, like I say, I turned 40 this week, and I'm happy I'm getting older because I don't think much of this world, and I'm blessed. Look, I do recognize I live in an overall great country. Overall, I'm blessed to have a job. I'm blessed to have YouTube. I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. I'm very grateful. And I try to show that through not just my words, but my action. Um, but I really don't think much of this world. I definitely don't think much of our president, but I don't think much of this world. Because it's a never ending fight. And I just get tired of it. You know what I mean? So I've been close to death a couple times and I was scared. There is something to be said that life in this world has a special quality and it can be very great and exciting. But it also could be very dragged out and like, oh my God, it's always going to be something. Like you get through this and then it's that. You get through this and then it's always something. And that really bothers me. And it really makes me question, like, God, why would you create this type of world? You know what I mean? Like, what does it mean? Is it all a big game? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. But I know who am I to question God. That's how I feel too. Hassel. Elon Musk is a legend. Well, in your opinion, I think he's done some good things, but I also don't like him personally. I think he makes overpriced vehicles that, to me, I'm not too impressed with. He took over NASA, which was a government program. He had all the infrastructure already in place because of the taxpayer. And I think we even subsidized, we are subsidizing SpaceX. We subsidized Tesla. Obama bailed Tesla out. And Tesla was getting subsidies up to last year for people who bought them. So I don't think he's like this great. I think, look, he has a high level of intelligence. But I don't think he's like this great person that made a big difference in society. We had electric cars before him. You say, Sam, well, he's going to make electric cars eventually affordable. Yeah, guys, big screen TVs are affordable now, but they're useless. Who wants a big screen TV? I don't. It's useless. So, yeah, if your thing is, well, eventually Elon Musk is paving the way for eventually electrical cars will be affordable. Guys, by the time they're affordable, they'll be useless. So, I don't think much of them, but, teach their own. Frank, what's your favorite movie? Good question. I like Stigmata, movie in the 90s. I like The Devil's Advocate, movie with Al Pacino. I like the movie Rad, which was a BMX bike when I was young in the 80s. I like The Final Quest, movie from the 80s. I like Silver Linings Playbook with Bradley Cooper and the girl from the Hunger Games. So I would say I like Limitless. I would say that the last one, those are some good ones. Lila, hey, Nomad, you people on your channel, live chat, follow me Twitter. I'm not mad at you. Yeah, anyone that has that wants to follow Lila, we love you. Let's take hydration break. Hansa, hello. I would like to ask you, I don't understand your question. Yeah, I don't understand your question. Vanessa, I stayed with my grandma for a few months after ICU. Normally sweet, but she got nasty because she lost her independence. That's a good comment. It was really hard. I cried a lot. Vanessa, that's an excellent comment. Yeah, when someone and I would be the same way. When someone, and Lila's been sharing about Walt Roseman, how he's been nasty sometimes. Yeah, that's like his family member. Yeah, when someone loses their independence and they can't go to the bathroom on their own or they can't do things on their own, they're frustrated. They don't want to be here anymore. I've seen that too, Vanessa. And yeah, that's a tough part of life. That's one of the toughest parts of life. Yeah, that's a good comment. Fake freedom. Taking care of my mother, it's a hard thing like we're sharing about now. That's why I do appreciate people who share, man. You guys are a blessing to me. And you heal each other. Yeah, I understand what you guys are saying, man. Hansy, can you make a video to show your car setup? I have. If you go to my YouTube channel and you go to a playlist called Nomad Simple Living, I have various videos, and some of them show my exact car setup. See blow? Always ask questions. That's the main thing. Once we stop questioning, then we fail. Yeah, you must be younger. As you get older, you're like, I don't even want to know anymore. You're right. Definitely when you're younger. As you get older, there's a level of wisdom that says ignorance is bliss. Now, I don't recommend you be ignorant. I've read a lot. I read a lot. I have my own opinions. None of us are always right. But it's a never-ending rabbit hole with this world. And you're going to make this world maybe a little bit better, but this world will never be perfect. There's always going to be another psychopath. There's always going to be another abuser. It doesn't matter. You look at human history, we've gotten better, and you can make history better. You can make society better, and you will. But there's always going to be abusers. And so that's a little bit disheartening. No matter how many questions you ask, you can never figure out the psychopath mind. Like Elon Musk said, he was nice to his father. He was mean to his father. He tried to appeal intellectually. He tried to appeal emotionally. You can't appeal to certain people. There's a mechanism in their mind that does not grab to a rationality. And you got to remember that. Fake freedom. My sis does most of it. I clean stuff. Mother is ill and I'm getting ready to leave. Well, I can understand that. Well, just remember, we all have our own gifts, right? So it wouldn't be fair for your sister to say, hey, look, take care of giving mom a sponge bath. Why? Because maybe she's more of a nurturer, you're more of a builder. So like you wouldn't ask your sister to go lay sheetrock. So if you were a carpenter and your sister was more of a nurturer, and women tend to be more of a nurturer, the dynamic of, who we are. So she may be good at like changing your mom, doing things like that. And you may be someone who lays sheetrock. Your sister would never be able to lay sheetrock. You may never be able to be a caretaker. So I remember when I helped someone move. I helped people move from house to house several times. And I remember the last time I helped someone move. And I say, I would never help someone move again because I'm killing myself. I would give them money to hire a professional mover. So what I'm saying is you may get to a certain point where you need a professional caretaker. Now, you still have to monitor them and you still have to be there for your mother. But when you visit your mother, you want to be her son. When you're her son and her caretaker, if it's like that forever and you have no outside assistance, it could be a different dynamic. It's like if you were a father and you coached your son playing high school basketball, you're now your son's father and coach. You can't be a father and a coach. Your son needs a father in the stand that's going to support him no matter what. The father kind of has to be a little bit, there's a different relationship. And then when you go home, it's like your son still sees you as the coach, not the father. Now, there's certain people that may be able to pull that off, but I think that's unhealthy. Just like it's unhealthy for, if your manager was your father. If you went to a job and your manager was your father or your manager was your mother, would that be healthy? I don't think so. I think you got to have some boundaries. And everyone has to play to what they do well. So if anyone ever throws in your face, well, you don't take care of mom. Well, all right, do you take care of the plumbing? It's like we all have different gifts. So, some people, they'll play that though. Guys, you want to know one of the biggest shit shows in life? The funeral. The funeral, dividing up the assets, it's going to be a disaster. So if there's one thing I would tell an elderly parent is liquidate your assets now, have a simple will, and let it be all in one fund and just distribute it if you're at the end. Because if you got real estate, I still have my own mother and her father and her siblings. They're going to fight to the bitter end. It's going to be years of contention. Let me continue. Anthony, what's up, man? Is there anything you want to do before dying? That's a good question. I would like to retire early, and then I would like to, after I retired early and knew I could sustain that income, I guess I would like to do something in addition to my YouTube channel, something maybe that had an impact on society in a positive way. I don't know what. And I don't know how much I can handle because I need a lot of time by myself. So like being a politician, you have to spend a lot of time with other people. So I have to, that's why, like, I was given the opportunity to have my own church. I have my own nonprofit. I worked with a lot of different institutions and I was going down that route, but I burnt myself out. So now I'm in like Sammy 2.0. Like Inspirational Nomad is like my second half of my life where it's a outlet for me to use my gift. Yes, it's a side hustle too, but I feel I make an impact. And so if I knew I could fully retire and I didn't have to worry about doing other stuff other than YouTube and other whatever, and then not depending on YouTube solely, but having early, then I would say, well, all right, I have extra time. What can I do with that extra time and still take care of myself? Because right now I have a full-time job. I YouTube because I enjoy it as a side thing, and I enjoy my life. So there's no way now I could do anything more. Even when I was doing DoorDash, I did to figure it out, but I said, I can't do this. I'm burning myself out. So if I was able to retire from my main job, then I free up an extra 8 hours in my day. So then after a period of just settling in, then I would say to myself, all right, what can I do maybe 4 hours out of the day that gives back in some type of way or does something in some type of mission statement? Look, even owning a company could be giving back, but I owned a company. I employed people. I had electrical contracting business. I employed friends I knew that got a job. I pay no one less than $20 an hour. So, but I got burnt out. So to me, I'm past the point in my life where I want a big fancy house and I never wanted to rule the world. I just want to live comfortably and not be on the hook to anyone. So what do I want to do before I die? I would like to retire early. I would like to live on my own terms always. I want to be by the beach most of the time. I would like to continue to do YouTube and maybe add another element to that while still keeping a lot of time to myself because I need the time to myself or else I'll burn out. I've already tried the other things. So that's kind of like in my mind. That's a free flow. I just talked it out in my mind. That's kind of what I would say. Let's take hydration break. Love to you, Anthony. Anthony, deep question. I know, bro. Nah, it's a good question. It made me think, and I appreciate you doing that. Bye-bye. What is your favorite type of music besides Sade? Well, R&B and hip-hop and instrumental, just instrumental light, like melodies. And as I get older, it's more of the melodies, more of the softer stuff. Once in a while, a little bit of rock. But I would say, yeah, R&B, hip-hop, and then like light instrumentals. Tomasco. I think Hansa means to say beard. Yeah, I do. I cut my own hair. I cut my hair once every other week or so, and I trim my beard with a number 3 or number 4 beard trimmer. And yeah, that's it. I don't go to a barber. I haven't been to a barber since I was young, and I still had hair, and I would get a part and stuff like that. I don't miss the barber either. I used to hate waiting in line. I thank God that I don't have a barber anymore. Peppa. Even though I had a good friend, he was a barber. He was a nice guy. I miss him. He's a good guy. Peppa. I know you mentioned that singer. Yeah, Sade's my favorite R&B singer, soul singer. But yeah, R&B, hip hop, and light instrumental. Tom, hey Sam, what's up, brother? How are you, man? Good to see you, Tom. Happy Friday, man. Love to you, brother. How you doing, man? How's everything over there in Cali, man? Vanessa, if I didn't spend that time with my grandma, it would have been harder to let through. So I'm happy I could be there for her. It made it easier to say goodbye. Yeah, that's true. When someone passes away, there's a lot of guilt, even if you were there. But if you were there, a little bit less guilt. And that's true. Fake freedom. Wow. How did you know? I've lived enough life. You are on top of it. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm glad my words helped in some way. Oh, by the way, I'm a chick. Well, I loved you. Also, thank you for letting me know. Jay, I just finally, like, after like 5-6 months, I figured Jay Bird finally got me to remember that she's a girl. So there's sometimes, like, it's hard to tell by the profile name. Love to you. Vanessa. Yeah, I learned to spell out everything in my will. Yeah, there you go. I got a will too. Don't leave one person in charge of distributing. It will be a bloodbath. Oh, yeah. People not speaking in my family. It's a disaster, man. When someone passes away, if they got anything even a little bit, it's a disaster, man. That's so true, Lila. And Anthony, well, Lila, you're a very supportive, loving person, and we appreciate you. My man, Milano. Say, man, Next Monday, everything be open. Yeah, South Florida, pretty much next Monday. I think you guys are in phase 2 and phase 3. So New Jersey is still going to be like the middle of June or end of June before we're in phase 2. So gyms aren't open yet here, but I'm love to you, brother. Yeah, you guys will be open soon. So keep pushing forward, man. Shout out to you and Emilio. Tom, cool down and still working. Last Friday, dropped that mic. Yeah, man. We made it through another week, brother. I love you, Tom. It's great to have you, man. You made it through another week, man. You made it through another day. Milano says, yeah, that opening includes the gym. Yeah. Yeah, the gym is a key thing for the nomads, man, with the shower and the workout. But up north, a lot of the gyms, they're still not open. In Jersey, not open. In Massachusetts, they're not open. I saw Gail's video today. They're not open there yet. So, Gringo. Like Joe Jackson was an abusive father. That's true. And manager of Joe Jackson. That's an excellent point, Gringo. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and that whole family, you could tell they suffered abuse. The whole Jackson family, you could tell they all, Michael Jackson had everything supposedly a man could want. He had all the money in the world, all the fame. He could have any woman he's want. Like, didn't he marry Elvis's daughter? She was pretty back then too. She got big now, but you could tell he was haunted, man. He was never at peace. Now, maybe he became an abuser too. There's a lot of speculation that he abused children. I don't know. But, yeah, man, I don't know. That's a sad part of America, man. Because that was the American dream, to get out of poverty, be an abuser. Or to win 6 championships, be an abuser. Or to be the president, be an abuser. Guys, capitalism is based on who's the toughest and strongest. I mean, a big part of it. Again, capitalism is so good, but guys, if I wasn't mentally tough, if you were, you would fucking get ran over in this world, man. You couldn't just lollygag around. You know what I mean? You'd be fucking buried, man. This world is a disaster a little bit, man. It's the truth. Milano. Yeah, the Colombian like that. Yeah, she got the strip club open again. Yeah, a lot of bars and shops open up. I saw a guy today, he had a restaurant and someone was interviewing him. He said, is your restaurant going bankrupt? He goes, no, we're still with the small business loans, the stimulus package that the small businesses got, they're still good. They're good through July. But he said once July comes and that stimulus money runs out, they can never survive as a restaurant with the amount of business they currently have. So they go, either business has really got to pick back up to normal, or if they don't do more stimulus, our company will basically go bankrupt in 3-4 months. Frank, how much do you need to retire? You need a steady monthly income of $2,000 to $3,000 per month. And I want to say $3,000 per month if you're under 65, because you have to pay for your own health care. So $3,000 a month take home, because you have to pay for your own health care, and hopefully you're out of debt, because if you have a mortgage, something like that, you couldn't live off $3,000. But if you were living on the road as a full-time nomad and you wanted to retire, in my opinion, you need about $3,000 a month take home, and that's about $50,000 a year to retire with a level of decency and be able to travel when you want, pay your insurances, have a little fun, and keep a little operating cash flow. Now, maybe you can make it less than that, but it's not just the number. But I would say it would at least have to be $30,000 to $50,000 a year, and that's about $2,000-3,000 a month take home. But that has to be sustainable. It can't be like a one-time investment or a one-time gift. Like, Social Security is a guarantee. You know you're going to get it every month for the rest of your life. So is Medicare. United States of America is the only industrialized country. It's the only first world country that doesn't have universal health care. Canada has it. Australia has it. These are civilized countries that have good economies, that are not collapsing, that have never collapsed. They care about their people. Guys, as great as America is, I've seen extreme poverty in my life. I see most people living paycheck to paycheck. Florida is a state of extremes. Guys, if you go to Palm Beach County, if you go to Mar-a-Lago, where Trump owns, and you take a 10-minute ride to West Palm Beach, it's extreme poverty. So guys, there is a lot of inequity in the system. Now no one notices when the government's printing money and you got the stimulus packages, but you take away those stimulus packages and guys, you're going to see America about to go into recession. You say, Sam, 2.5 million jobs were added today. The stock market boomed. Guys, 2.5 minus 46 million? You still got 40 million people laid off. Even if you cut that number in half. Guys, do you know what the unemployment rate was during the Great Recession? It was 10%. So guys, they're saying now we'll be lucky if we get back to 10%. So look, and we're going to an election year. And I think I think Donald Trump is holding that over the head. He's saying, look, the country can't survive economically without me, even though we did fine under Obama. We tripled the stock market. We did great under Bill Clinton. Guys, we've done great just about under every president. So, Donald Trump is an abuser. He's saying, well, without me, you can't do good. If your father ever tells you without him, you can't do good, without him, you would have been nothing, he's an abuser. If your ex-husband, your ex-wife says, without me, you would have been nothing, they're an abuser. They don't love you. They don't think much of you. They think without them, I tell you guys, without me, you go on with your life, live your life. So, how do you identify abuser? They say without them, you ain't gonna be none. Tom, I read that. Old Gringo, yeah, I read that too. I read that. Good comment, Frank. Vanessa, I'm going to do the same Planet Fitness to shower at night, and I'm starting to feel embarrassed, like they think I'm weird because sometimes I only work out 20 minutes. Well, sometimes I don't even work out. So you're a paying member. You pay every month. That's your right to be there, just like it's your right to kneel at the national anthem. So Donald Trump can type with all caps that no kneeling, but he doesn't write the Constitution, even though he used the military against the citizens, which is a violation of the Constitution. So what I would tell you to do, don't worry about it because you're a paying member. If you want to go there every day just to take a dookie and never take a shower, that's your right. So now, will Donald Trump shame you for doing it? Yeah, he shames NFL players. But what I'll tell you is keep protesting and keep using that shower. Tom, how are things there look like so I'm sweating my ass off? Yes, yeah, that's true too, Tom. I was thinking about that. He goes, how are things looking, sweating, getting that Class B? Yeah. This is the time of the year that I always think about, should I upgrade to an RV, whether it's a Class B, and I still like the Corrado Axion the best, or a travel trailer, because the air conditioning during the summer. But my biggest thing with the Class B is I'm going to lose the ability to DoorDash. And I know people that got laid off last week. If I get laid off next week, even though I don't think it will happen, but if it happens, I want to be able to DoorDash tomorrow, so at least I have a mental peace that I'm, So the other part of my mind says, Sam, if you get laid off tomorrow, you're not going to be able to retire off DoorDash, or I wouldn't, because I would still need to pay into retirement. I'll probably go, I don't know how, look, I'm very grateful for my job and the people I work with, but I'm 40. Do I want to go back into corporate America? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I want my freedom, man. And if I get a Class B, man, that's about $50,000. So right now, my first time being debt-free, I keep saying to myself, Sam, all I know is if I'm debt-free, I have more options. And I know through my own experience in life, when I have more options, I have more freedom. I put myself less in a position to be abused. I can speak my mind. People can disagree with it. People can not like it. And I don't have to worry. Like, a big part of the reason I can come on this channel every night and be myself is because, I don't have, I have a level of liberty in my simple life. Now, I earn everything else because I add value to where I go. But I like knowing that I live so simple that, if someone wanted to hurt me, it's like, what you going to do, So when you got nothing, what are they going to do to you? You know what I mean? Now, obviously, look, you don't want someone to take your health or your freedom. But when you got nothing, what you going to do? I ain't got shit. You know what I mean? So, it's a little bit of in my mind, at least, that's how I play it out. Slops. The U.S. healthcare is $3,000. That's loads. Maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. The United States healthcare, number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical bills. How much does it cost to pay for your own health care if you were a single middle-aged person? About $300 to $500 per month, depending on the plan you get. Fake freedom. I could make it on $800 a month, not paying your own health insurance. After you pay your own health insurance, you'd be left with $300. Then you have to pay your car insurance. I don't know. Are you going to live in your car? Then you have to pay for food, gas. You'd be living in poverty. Even in your car, but no disrespect. And again, everyone has a different way to live, but I don't think you realize that you wouldn't have health insurance. And I don't know, maybe you're retired. You could be retired, you could be on disability. I don't know your situation, but those are my thoughts. You don't need health care? It's number one cause of bankruptcy. What are you going to do if you break your leg? What are you going to do if you need surgery? How can you not need health care? See, I don't know about that. I would disagree with that. I think that's irresponsible. That's like saying I don't need car insurance. That's why the United States had to make it a law that you need car insurance. That's why Donald Trump repealed that everyone had to get health insurance. Guys, imagine driving. There's people that drive in Florida, they don't have car insurance. That's why it's so high. When you go to a hospital and you don't pay your medical bill, you know what happens? Other people end up paying for the person that doesn't pay. When you get in a car accident and you have car insurance, premiums of other people who pay go up. So it's not about afraid to die. It's about who's going to pay for your leg surgery. I don't know. I think it's irresponsible, but to each their own. I don't agree. Milano, save as much as you can. You can do other things in life. Think we are always in a recession. Now that's a fair point. That's a fair point, but I think I want to stay positive. In many areas, you are correct on that statement. Tom, when Reagan was president, it was a 16% unemployment rate. That's good. I didn't know. I know it was nasty, but that was good. Okay. In my town, it was a ghost town. That's an interesting comment. Good comment, Tom. Vanessa, I don't know why I care. I just don't really want them to think I'm homeless. No, I can understand. There's a taboo there. I can understand that, Vanessa. I'm similar sometimes myself. There's sometimes, I know what you're saying. Mike, Sam, news has reported good RV sales. I saw that. Do you think it's just an impulse buy? Yeah, it's an interesting question, Mike. Good question. I should do a video on that. Two reasons. One is people got a stimulus check and there's more money in the system today than there was pre-coronavirus. Why? Because everyone got stimulus money. If you're unemployed, many people on the lower pay scale are making more than they made when they were working. Small businesses got loaned. Taxpayer bailed out the bond market. Stocks went back up. So there's a lot of money floating in the system. So a lot of people looked at that. Plus, they looked at going on a vacation, taking an airplane is not as attractive as a fully self-contained RV. And some people, in some camp sites right now, they won't let you tent camp. You have to be in a fully self-contained RV. And even me, I documented the coronavirus and I said it taught me that a self-contained RV has a level of value. Tom always preached that too. I give him credit. If you're going to upgrade your vehicle, don't just get a van. If you're going to get a travel trailer, don't just get like a camper. Whatever RV type you get, if you decide to go to that next level, you got to be fully self-contained. What does that mean? A fully self-contained RV means a bathroom with a shower, a kitchenette, and a sleeping quarters. That's what makes you able to live in the RV. Live in your RV, whether it's a Class B, travel trailer, Class C. If you don't have all those facilities, technically you can't live there. So I think that in all those factors made RV sales spike. Oh, Gringo? Yeah, Michael Jackson and Nick Cage were both married to Elvis Presley's daughter. Not at the same time. She's a freak. I met her, though. I'm a freak, too. Oh, Gringo. Tom. Yeah, I couldn't buy a new RV in these times. Yeah. if you were going to buy a travel trailer, you know, like you told me, I mean, the cheapest one out there is the runaway trailers. But I think now they do make one that you can stand up in. But it's pretty much like you got, Tom, a cargo trailer. So you could get a brand new travel trailer for about $10,000, a Coachman Clipper Cadet, a couple-year-old used Great Escape. I like the Great Escape A-Liner, the 14-foot, about 1,600-pound ST model, fully self-contained. So there's some out there. Now, but do you want to go in debt? Do you want to finance it? Do you want to pay it off? I mean, it costs money. So, and it's a little bit more of a burden. So those are individual things that, you know, we all got to think about. You know, it's interesting. Sibley's. In the UK, healthcare is free under the NHS. Yeah, I don't know what NHS means, but yeah, every other modern first world country has universal healthcare. America is the only country that doesn't have it. It's a total disgrace. Obama tried to take us there, and Trump took us backwards to the Stone Ages. Fake freedom, don't need it. Yeah, well, that's why we will pay a higher premium, but I love you. I was making $1,200 a month working full-time at NYS. Fake freedom, I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to subsidize that bill. I imagine. Laughing, I love you. Hansa, yeah, fake freedom, but if you're sick, it's different. No, I agree. Look, I mean, obviously, if you're living in poverty, and technically America considers poverty if you make under $1,000 a month. If you're living in poverty, you're going to get Medicare. So, you know, look, I mean, it is what it is. I don't want to argue with people about that. I mean, everyone has to make their own decisions. Frank, what makes you happiest? That's a good question. Being by the beach, going for a walk, seeing my mother for a brief period of time, and being financially independent. Those are the things, kind of in that order. And obviously Florida in that mix is part of living by the beach. That's what makes me happiest. Yeah, that's, and watching some porn at the end of the night, tap it off, that makes me happy. Yeah, well, faith without works is dead, fake freedom. So I don't know where you got the understanding that God is, your life is in God's hands. That's true. But obviously you read some scripture or you followed some belief system. And so you realize that faith without works is dead. So if you say your life is in God's hands, but then you jump off a cliff, you're doing the opposite of what Jesus said. Because the devil told Jesus, if your life is in God's hands, why don't you jump off this cliff? And Jesus said back to the devil, it also says, don't test the Lord. So fake freedom, you're testing the Lord through stubbornness, ignorance, laziness, and you know what I mean. So look, if you want to live with no health care, I'm not mad at you, but don't start like giving me the sermon. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I love you. So boss, what are we doing when you were 21? I was working construction, I think in Merck Pharmaceutical Plant in New Jersey. I was going to school at night, and I was going out strip club on the weekend. Tom, keep it simple if you're happy. Tom, 100 emoji. Jay Bird, National Health Service in UK, I think. Good comment, Jay Bird. Jay Bird knows you in the healthcare system down in Florida. All right, guys, I read all the comments, and I really appreciate you, and I thank you, man. I thank every one of you. I got love for you. I hope my videos help you in some way. Thank you, Old Gringo. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, all my members. Frank, Tom, my man Backwoods, Jay Bird, I love you, Tomasco. Old Gringo, how did Lisa Maria get so big? Yeah, you Googled her. Guys, all chicks get big. So do guys. I'm not, even since the coronavirus, I've been working out. I know some of you disappointed. I know that, So guys, I'm honest in my evaluation. Peppa, she's dancing 100. Good night, Sam. Good night, yeah. CTRNA. Thanks. I hope you're doing good. Love to you, Jay Bird. Kiss to you. Jay Bird's a female, guys. I didn't know that for a while. I think. Hansa, heart emojis. Thank you. And prayers. Thank you. Old Gringo, Tomasco. Tom. One finger up. Sam birthday month. Nah, let's say that. Yeah, I can't celebrate my whole month. Never date someone that celebrates their whole birthday. For the whole month. Because it's all about them, man. They're psychopaths. They probably vote for Trump. Let's stay positive. Old Gringo, Lisa Marie Presley is big because her daddy spoiled her rotten. Vanessa, Kelly Clarkson got big. She can sing, but she did get big. But you knew she was going to be big because she's short and stocky. Now, I'm wide. I got a wide ass. I'm not going to lie to you. So, yeah, but you knew Kelly Clarkson was good. She got a great voice, though. I will give her credit. She got a great voice. Old gringo. I'm just glad I got Veterans Administration healthcare. Yeah, I am too. Obviously, look, that's the one good thing about the Army, or, yeah, you could do 20 years. You get full retirement benefits. So if you join the Army at 20, you're retired at 40. You'd be retired at my age. Now, the only bad thing is Donald Trump orders you to shoot rubber bullets into a peaceful protest. You got to take that order. I can never take that order. So, you got to have a certain mindset, old gringo. I'm just glad I read it. All right, guys. I read all the comments. I love you. Have a great night, guys.